Shit, what it do, family? It's your boy, the Expert Genius, aka XP. You know, I just want to get on here and give my thoughts about Canelo Alvarez and the altercation he had with Demetrius Andrade last night. So, sorry about the wind. You know, I'm out here getting my walk on around the complex. But let me go ahead and get right into it. Now, Canelo was shook when, Andrade, because, Canelo said, "You're a champion, but who have you fought?" And Andrade replied with, who did Rocky Fielding fight? Which I'm gonna circle back around to Rocky Fielding in a minute, why that also ties into Demetrius Andrade and Canelo. But Canelo took offense to that, and I guess thought that he was talking about who did he fight. Basically started telling Andrade to get the fuck out of here and calling him a horrible fighter. Now, he calls Andrade a horrible fighter, and in the past, he used that same excuse. Well, not the same excuse. He used a similar excuse, saying that Andrade was boring. He says that because he know his fans and casuals and certain members of mainstream media will eat that up. And then you got fans talking about, oh, Canelo was speaking facts when he was talking about payday, basically saying that Andrade was just looking for a payday. Now let's wrap this all in. Like I said about Rocky Fielding. If this was about a payday, then who cares if it's about a payday? I mean, you was glad to give Rocky Fielding, Abney Yildirim, and Kellen Smith a payday. Oh, and let's not forget Billy Joe Saunders and Sergey Kovalev. But you was cool giving them a payday, which to me, it would only be true that Andrade was looking for a payday if he just started calling Canelo out. But we all know that's not true. He been wanting Canelo since they were all at 154 pounds, and Andrade was the WBO champion. He wanted to defend his title against Canelo. Canelo turned him down. What did he do? He moved up to middleweight. The whole situation with Andrade and Rock Nation and Jamil Charlo, that put a bad taste in people's mouth about Demetrius Andrade, which stagnated his career, which led to the WBO stripping him of his title because he didn't defend it and he wasn't active. So then later on, they let Liam Smith fight for that title, and Andrade moves up to 160 as well. What did Canelo do? He moves up to 160, but then after the WBO strips Demetrius Andrade of his title and then lets Liam Smith fight for it, Canelo then moves back down to 154 pounds to fight Liam Smith for the title he could have fought and took from Demetrius Andrade if Andrade is such a horrible fighter and boring fighter? Think about that. Canelo also said that he wanted to be the first Mexican to be undisputed at middleweight. Now here's how this connects Rocky Fielding. Canelo was one title away from becoming undisputed at middleweight. All he had to do was beat Demetrius Andrade for the WBO title. What does he do? He moves up to 168 to fight Rocky Fielding and tries to justify that by calling Andrade and Charlo boring, saying that they're boring fighters, and if he was to fight them and the fight was boring, he would get blamed for it. That's cold to I don't like his style. Which, let me get off of the topic I was talking about and talk about styles and Canelo supposedly a better fighter and improving since the Floyd fight. I want y'all to notice something. Canelo only looks good because he's been fighting stationary fighters. Say it again. He's only been fighting stationary fighters that are there to be hit. Yeah, he fought Amir Khan and was getting outboxed by Amir Khan, but Amir Khan had to move up 2 weight classes to fight Canelo. And then all the rehydration clauses Canelo was putting on big fighters, he wouldn't allow that same clause to be put on him when Amir Khan asked for it. But let's get off of that. But Billy Joe Saunders, I don't like him. He a hoe. But he a good fighter, and he got good footwork. And this was supposed to be a showcase for Canelo to show how much he's improved and gotten better since, you know, that loss with Floyd that he was supposedly learned from, that you fans say he's learned from that and gotten better. I want y'all to know something. Billy Joe Saunders is the first boxer that first fighter that he's faced that's a good boxer and has good footwork since he fought Floyd in 2013 and Lara in 2014. Think about that. And he didn't. Yeah, he won the fight because Billy Ho quit. And those scorecards was outrageous, saying that Canelo was winning 6 rounds. That's outrageous, bro. I had that, and I don't like Billy Joe Saunders, but I had that 5-3 for Billy Joe Saunders. You can even say 4-4. A draw going into that when Billy Joe quit. But if he learned, why did he look like that against Billy Joe Saunders? And to me, Andrade is a better boxer than, Billy Joe Saunders. Caleb Plant is a better boxer than Canelo Alvarez. And people saying, can Plant beat Canelo? Yes. Plant can beat Canelo, long as he has a tendency, and I like Caleb Plant, that's my boy. He has a tendency in the later rounds to get lazy and get hit with stuff that he's not supposed to get hit with. How you doing? But as long as he stay focused, he can beat Canelo. But getting back into it, If he's learned, why did he look bad against Billy Joe Saunders? Or I shouldn't say bad, average or whatever you want to call it. Why he looked like that against Billy Joe Saunders? Why was he getting outboxed by Amir Khan? Anybody want to talk about that? Yes, Canelo is a good fighter, but it's like I've always been saying, Canelo is average at best. That's why he fights the fighters that he fights, to make him look like he's good and that he's learned something. No, he hasn't learned nothing. And for him to come out and say that prime for prime, him in his prime fighting Floyd in his prime, he would knock out Floyd and Floyd wouldn't fight him. Stop, bro. Like I said, I'm a Pretty Boy Floyd fan and I'm a Money Mayweather critic. But you were 23 when you fought Floyd, and Floyd was damn near almost 37 years old, and you couldn't touch him. Never mind the fact that Floyd's hands, his hands has been injured. So he wasn't the knockout artist like he was when he was in his prime. And you want to fight Floyd in his prime when he was a knockout artist? Bro, come on. If you couldn't touch a 36, almost 37-year-old Floyd Mayweather, what makes you think you can be the prime Floyd Mayweather? Cut that out. Now let's go back to this Demetrius Andrade situation. Canelo is using talking points of his fans. Who did you fight? You're a horrible fighter. You're boring. All that. He's only using that because his fans say that. And by saying that, he knows his fans, casual fans, and media will pick up on that and run with it. I even had somebody I seen in a comment section of a video say, if you actually educate yourself, you can go off of Canelo's last 5 opponents. And, I basically said that his last 5 opponents deserve to fight him over Demetrius Andrade. Well, let's break that down. Who did Billy Joe Saunders fight to deserve that? Anybody? What about Callum Smith? All right. So Callum Smith beat George Groves in September of 2018? What about Abner Yildirim? Did y'all know Abner Yildirim's last win was on my birthday, September 15th, 2018? That was his last win against a complete nobody. His last win was 2018. But he deserved a Canelo fight? Sergey Kovalev looked absolutely horrible against Anthony Yarde, however y'all want to say it. looked horrible. Yeah, he got the knockout win. That's only because Anthony was tired, fell down, and couldn't get back up. If he could have got back up, hey, who knows? But Sergey didn't look good that fight. And Canelo wanted to fight him. He didn't look good. He looked like he could be touched. And let's not forget, Sergey basically came out and said he threw that fight. He took that fight. He basically sold his belt for $12 million. So we really can't be mad at Canelo for that. Yeah, I'm defending Canelo on this. We really can't be mad at Canelo for Sergey Kovalev selling his belt for $12 million. Which Canelo also looked bad in that fight because Sergey was even outboxing him. Even it looked like he was not trying to hurt Canelo. Even though he, not even with a hard shot, one of his hardest shots, he didn't even put that much into it. You can say he threw like, out of his power, probably like 70%, maybe 75%, and he hurt Canelo, and then he eased off the gas. It's like he sold his title, and he went out there not to beat Canelo. Scratch him off. So who I got? Got Billy Joe Saunders, which he didn't look good in his last fight. Yildirim hadn't won since 2018. Callum Smith, biggest win on his resume is against George Grove in 2018. He's done nothing. It's 3 right there. So let me go back. Billy Joe, Yildirim, Kovalev. You got who else? Dang, he fought so many other fighters. Man, I'm just gonna go ahead and skip to a fighter that actually, if you want to say, deserved a Canelo fight. Daniel Jacobs. Who did he beat to get a Canelo fight? He beat Sergey Deverenchenko, which, to me, I thought Deverenchenko won. This dude has got robbed. To me, the only loss he should have on his record is against Jermell Charlo, because to me, he beat Daniel Jacobs and he beat Gennady Golovkin. And Gennady Golovkin only fought him to try to get a third Canelo fight because he too ducked. When he had the IBF title at middleweight, he ducked Sergey. Basically gave up his belt so he didn't have to fight Sergey. Then years later, Canelo picks up that belt, and Canelo too ducks Sergey and gives up the IBF title to duck Sergey. Hence why Triple G finally fought Sergey Deverenchenko. So that's 4 fighters. We know damn well Rocky Fielding didn't deserve that shit. So Billy Joe Saunders, Abney Yildirim, Callum Smith, Sergey Kovalev. Oh, and Danny Jacobs. So yeah, I did go through all of them. So, like, come on. Let's start with the BS. So if y'all want to say who has Andrade fought, Who have they fought? Only person you can say, even though he got that, to me, fight could have went either way. I had Sergey winning, but Daniel Jacobs got the split decision. Only person you can say that out of his last 5 opponents that probably deserved the fight was Daniel Jacobs. And to me, that was a much closer fight than what people want to give Jacobs credit for when he fought Canelo. Canelo wants no part of either Charlo brother. He wants no part of Sergey Derevyanchenko. He wants no part of Demetrius Andrade. Matter of fact, anybody that's a threat, he wants no part of. Hell, shit, he might can beat Sergey Derevyanchenko. I'll still be going for Sergey Derevyanchenko, but he might can beat Sergey Derevyanchenko, who don't even know. But he ducked him. Gave up his belt to duck him. Just like he gave up his belt and requested to be franchise champion just to duck Jamal Charlo. All facts. Can't refute facts. I want somebody to tell me that I'm lying and point out where I'm lying. Canelo is not what y'all think he is, bro. He's not. And that whole altercation last night just shows that he wants no smoke with Andrade. How you gonna call him a horrible fighter and fight fighters like Abney Yildirim and Rocky Fielding? How you gonna call him a boring fighter and fight fighters like Abney Yildirim, Rocky Fielding, and Callum Smith? Like, come on, bro. Y'all need to wake up. It's like, I'm going to use something Earl Spence uses when it comes to Canelo and him saying this about certain fighters that he don't want to fight. It's all smoke and mirrors. Y'all falling for it. He's blatantly ducking these guys and using y'all's talking points and tactics to duck fighters, all because he knows y'all are going to back him up. And like I said, for anybody that want to say Canelo was speaking facts about saying that, basically saying that, what's his name? Andrade wanted a payday, but don't want to say the same thing about Sergey Kovalev. Hell, we can say that about Billy Joe Saunders, because he quit. A guy that said he would rather die than quit, but he quit last night. In a fight I thought he was winning, even though I don't like him. I don't care that he lost, but I'm going to be consistent and fair. Fuck Billy Joe all day, and I'm glad that he lost. But that ain't gonna blind me from seeing that he was actually winning. And if you don't believe he was winning, hell, that could have been a draw going up until when he quit. But don't sit here and bullshit me and say that he only won 3 rounds or he only won 2 rounds, like the judges was trying to say. And people talking about, well, he was losing on the judges' scorecards. He was losing on the scorecards. So, you know, the judges know. And I say, bullshit. If y'all want to go off of judges' scorecards and think that judges' scorecards are the truth How do you explain Mauricio Herrera versus Danny Garcia? How do you explain that judge trying to say that it was a draw against Floyd Mayweather and Canelo Alvarez when Floyd beat that boy from pillar to post all 12 rounds? Like, stop it. Your boy Canelo is a fraud. He a hoe. Because he's a good fighter. But he don't want to dare to be great. I don't like Oscar De La Hoya. But Oscar De La Hoya said something, you know, that kind of rings true. I mean, look at Canelo. He wants to talk about how, which Golden Boy probably was dicking him, but he wants to talk about how they was dicking him and all that kind of stuff and not loyal. But he was making more money with Golden Boy than what he did for this fight. He took less money for this fight than what he was making with Golden Boy. Remember, Oscar, at a point before Canelo started calling him disloyal, Oscar was trying to get him to fight the Charlo brothers and Demetrius Andrade. You know, saying that, you know, he needs that for his legacy. As soon as he did that, that's when Canelo wanted to start calling him disloyal. And if it was Oscar that was keeping him from, you know, fighting good fighters, why when he's not with Oscar, he's fighting Abney Yildirim and Billy Joe Saunders? So y'all better wake up. Canelo selling y'all a pipe dream. Boy don't want no smoke. And I hope that fight does happen next, so Sweet Hands, well, you know, with Caleb Plant, so Sweet Hands can put hands all over him. Like I said, long as he stays focused and don't lose focus and start doing that shit that he usually do in his fights and getting touched, hey, he got Canelo's number. How Andrade looked in his last fight, I don't know if he did that on purpose, but how Andrade looked in his last fight, hell, Canelo might be able to beat him. But to me, I think he looked like that. Oh, just think about it. I think he looked like that on purpose. He looked like that on purpose. He looked like that in that fight. And then out of all fights, he turns up to this fight to respectfully try to call out and make a fight with Canelo. And Canelo got defensive and disrespectful. But that's all I gotta say about Canelo. He a fraud. He don't want no smoke. He's selling y'all pipe dreams and smoke and mirrors, and y'all falling for it. Because if Andrade was a horrible fighter, Canelo would have been and fought him and beat him. He would have did this back when they was all at 154 pounds. If he could beat either Charlo brother, he wouldn't have dug Jamal after giving up his belt not to fight Jamal. He would have fought Jamal at 160. If he could have beat Jamel, he could have beat Jamel when he was signed with Golden Boy, one of the reasons why he left Golden Boy, because Canelo wouldn't fight him, and Golden Boy lied to him about getting a Canelo fight. So he left Golden Boy. So all you casuals and Canelo fans that's out here capping for Canelo, saying that, oh, he would whoop these guys. He would whoop these guys. They can't touch him. He would have whooped these guys. He would have been and done it. And the fact that he's not, and he's making excuses on why he's not fighting him, and y'all falling for it, shows that, like Floyd said to Larry Merchant, y'all don't know shit about boxing. This is your boy, the Expert Genius, aka XP. Go ahead, hit that like button, share it on social media, leave a comment if you agree or disagree. I don't care. And if you don't agree with what I said, go ahead and hit that dislike button. Like I said, it's your boy, Expert Genius, aka XP, and I'm out.